Hey guys, Meteorologist Chris Tomer here with this Thursday mountain weather update. All right, my bullet points will set the table here. 3 different storm systems in my forecast between today and 12:30. So they're going to come in 3 different waves, and there'll be breaks in between. And there's going to be a few snow bullseyes with feet of accumulation at some of these resorts. Up in the Northeast, there's a rain problem, 12:29 and 12:30, which is going to chew up a lot of the available moisture. And then it turns much colder around the first of the new year in the Northeast with snow accumulation, and it could be heavy, 1-1 through 1-3. All right, let me show you what it's doing right now. So this is Jackson Hole, just getting started on the precipice of this storm cycle for the Tetons. And the Tetons are actually one of my big snow bullseyes out of this thing. I've got 3 feet of accumulation or more for the very highest of elevations of the Tetons. Jackson Hole, Rendezvous Peak, up to the Grand Teton, and you can see the snow is it's just starting there in the Tetons right now. Should be a good day nonetheless with some new powder as the day goes on. Down the road, this is Alta. You've seen a wave of snow come through. I'll show you the radar here in a second. But again, it's all going to come in waves between today and 12:29, 12:30. So here's radar across the west. And notice a lot of this. This is just storm system number 1. So looking at the Wasatch in particular, you had a nice wave come in. Now it's much lighter. It's kind of fading. The northern end of that is what's affecting the Tetons, a lot of Idaho and Montana. You've got heavy snow up in the Pacific Northwest, BC, all the way running down through Oregon and across northern California. Let me take you in just a little bit closer. So in Salt Lake, you can see how that wave came in, and it actually looked pretty good. Now it has really dissipated, so we're going to have to wait on the next piece of energy to move in. Up in Wyoming, again, just getting started here. This initial wave just sort of to kick things off, get the atmosphere primed for the rest of this, but you can see the snow on radar right there. All right, let me show you what's going on. This is the water vapor satellite imagery, low level. You can really see the contrast. The dry air is in the oranges and the reds. The moisture, look at the moisture right here in the whites and the blues. And the barn door has now swung wide open. And this is going to open it up. There's your initial wave. You've got another wave right here, and then, of course, another one behind that. All of these are going to be moving in with organized storm systems. So you'll have a mechanism to deliver this. We'll have Jetstream support and all of that through 12:30. Okay, here is my snow timeline, best odds of snow for the Wasatch, Tetons, Colorado, Tahoe, interior BC, and the Northeast. So for the Wasatch, heavy snow accumulation between today and 12:29. Tetons, heavy snow between today and 12:30. In Colorado this afternoon, the snow is going to start to build in through 12:27 into 12:28, and it could be moderate to heavy, especially in the central and northern mountain corridors of Colorado, less in southern Colorado. And then you also have another shot of moderate to heavy snow coming afternoon 29 into 30. Interior BC, moderate to heavy today, moderate to heavy 28, and then light 12:30, and then moderate accumulation on 1-1. Okay, let's go to Alta, Utah, and really drill down on this forecast. So this is the forecast mediagram for Alta, Utah at about 9,000 feet. So, okay, here's the column for today, 26. There's 27, there's 28, there's 29. Now, as far as a grand total, this particular model has about 32 to 36 inches of total accumulation. We'll call it 34 as an average. Notice in the fashion in which this falls. It's pretty light today. You might be able to pick up one, maybe a few inches of accumulation today, and then a much bigger snow tomorrow, and the snow just continues all the way through 27 and 28, and probably trickles into early 29. And that's where we're going to get a lot of that accumulation. The winds are going to be gusty, especially with the second wave that comes in, looking at 25, 30, maybe even 50 to 55 mile an hour wind gusts on the 27th, the middle part of the day on the 27th. So it's going to be very windy, and that's the primary part of the storm system. Once that comes in, and it really helps to engage a more generous upslope flow. Okay, so that's Alta, Utah. Let me take you to, so this is snow mass in Colorado. Forecast mediagram for snow mass. And snow mass, notice the forecast here for snow mass village. This is though at approximately 12,000 feet. So this is not down in the village, but it's up higher on the mountain at 12,000. So there's our column for today, the 26. There's 27. There's 28. There's 29. As a grand total, this has about 15 inches of accumulation. And you can see a little bit of snow develops this afternoon. More so tomorrow. The bulk of the accumulation comes tomorrow. The winds tomorrow kick up to about 60, 65, 66 miles per hour. So it's the same kind of artifact that comes through Utah on the 27th. You've got a windy part of the storm system that comes through and really helps to engage some generous upslope. So in Utah, the Wasatch, that's the case. And right here in Snowmass, that's the case on the 27th. And then lingering snows through the 28th and also the 29th. And there might be one additional shot of snow beyond this. All right, so that's Snowmass in Colorado. This is the forecast time height, and this is all I'm looking for here. This is for Loveland ski area is the green, and guys, we have a lot of green. I mean, we are flush with moisture. That's humidity in the atmosphere over the next 72 hours. So you read that from right to left, and you're looking down at this. It's a slice of all the vertical layers, and once we're in this, I mean, there's some moisture lingering. This morning and then this afternoon, it starts to really increase, and then the moisture is here. I mean, it's deep moisture for the next 48 hours. And, a lot of that does happen on the 27th. There's a lot of accumulation on the 27th. I showed you the strong winds. So that's going to be a key time frame. And then you've got snow continuing with high humidity values in the atmosphere through the 28th as well. So for Loveland ski area, estimating about 16 inches on this model. I think 16 to 20 is probably the right zone, is probably the right range for Loveland. Now, this is Steamboat ski area in the northern mountains. Quite a bit more of snow forecast here. This particular model says 30 inches at Steamboat. You can see a lot of that snow comes in on the 27th with those stronger winds and that orographic lift. But it lingers all the way into the 28th and even the 29th up there in the northern mountains. Okay, Jetstream forecast, just to really bring this forecast home. Started at about lunchtime today on the 26th. You can see the nose of the jet. What I'm looking for here are the brighter colors, the reds, the pinks, and even some of those dark browns. That's going to be the core of the jet coming in, the storm track. And so that's ushering in moisture and our three storm systems. So again, lunchtime today, watch what happens. I mean, the whole thing just takes over the west like a big conveyor belt, bringing all this in. Okay, here's early Friday morning, the 27th, still rocking and rolling. Lunchtime on Friday. Here's the evening hours of Friday, still going into the 28th. And you can almost see on the 27th, it's no surprise we're going to have all that strong wind as that jet streak absolutely just knifes its way in. Okay, here's early on the 28th in the morning, still going. There's lunch on the 28th. There's the evening hours of the 28th. All right, here we go into the 29th, the morning hours of the 29th. We still have a lot of jet energy across the west, so we're not quite done yet. So that's early on the 29th. Here we are at lunchtime on the 29th, and you can still see, I mean, we got a lot of jet energy running across the west. So it's a good period, 26 through 29, even 12, even 12:30 in some places. So here are my numbers. All of today through the first of the new year. So I'm just going to run it through the first so you can see what you're going to be skiing for the next few days and then on potentially on the first of the new year. So let's start in the Sierra. Not quite as much. You're really out of the flow in Mammoth. About a foot for a lot of Tahoe. The big stuff's up in the Pacific Northwest with 2 to 3 feet of accumulation through Whistler, Blackcomb, Rainier, Crystal, Stevens, Baker, and then potentially 5 feet down at Timberline and Bachelor. Right there in that core, that rich flow right over the top of that Oregon zone. Interior BC, looking at about a foot. on average for Red Mountain, Kicking Horse, and Revelstoke. A little bit less than Fernie and quite a bit less as you go down the hill into Banff Sunshine. About 4 in Marmot Basin. So the bullseyes, let's talk about these. Idaho, Sun Valley, Brundage, couple of feet. Certainly bullseye for the Tetons with about 40 on the board here for Jackson Hole, about 30 over in Grand Targhee, looking at about 17 for Big Sky, and lots of 12s up there in Montana. The Wasatch, this has been a little bit interesting to kind of see the numbers fluctuate. But thinking 1 to 2 feet will cover most of the resorts. We could go higher than that in Little Cottonwood Canyon, up to 26, maybe even 28, maybe 30. You saw the one model forecasting 36 or 34. So, I mean, there's some room to run here for Alta and Snowbird and even Solitude and Brighton, but somewhere in this zone. In Colorado, it's all about the central and northern mountains. Um, I've got 15 on the board for Snowmass, Aspen, Buttermilk, the Highlands, 2 feet for Steamboat, could be more. About 20 inches for Summit County, and right on top the Continental Divide for Loveland, A Basin, Winter Park, Cameron Pass, and Vail, about 15 in my forecast. Okay, into the Northeast. So again, the problem on 1229, 1230 is going to be all rain, so that takes up all that precip, chews it up. What you see here mainly happens on the 1st. We start to see some potentially moderate to heavy accumulation start on the 1st and continue into the 2nd and even maybe on the 3rd. So the numbers could end up being much bigger than this beyond the 1st of the new year. All right, guys, we'll end on this western view. A lot of snow coming between today and 12:30. It will come in 3 different waves, and there'll be breaks, lulls in between the snow. I also wanted to send out a hello to Rob, who works up at Loveland Ski Area. I ran into Rob this morning, and he gave me this awesome pin. So, Rob, thanks. Very nice to meet you. And I'm glad you watch these forecasts, buddy. All right, take care.